You think you know scary fish, sharks, piranhas, barracuda with their silver teeth. But drop 3,000 feet below the surface where sunlight dies and the water pushes down with 60 times the force of standing air, and the rules change. Down there swim creatures with fangs that curve back to their eyes, mouths that balloon to swallow prey twice their size, and heads made of transparent jelly that let you watch their brains work. These are not movie monsters. They are real. They hunt in total darkness. Some glow, some blind, some kill with teeth so large they cannot close their mouths. What makes them this way? How do they survive where crushing pressure would collapse your lungs in seconds? And why do scientists keep finding new ones? Just an endless rain of dead material drifting down from the surface called marine snow. Food is rare. Encounters are rarer. Every adaptation down there solves one problem. Stay alive long enough to eat and reproduce before something eats you first. That is the equation. And it has produced fish so alien that when trawlers first hauled them up in the 1800s, scientists thought they were looking at fossils or mistakes. The anglerfish does not chase. It waits. Hanging motionless in water so cold it sits just above freezing, the female anglerfish extends a modified spine from her forehead, tipped with a glowing bulb. Inside that bulb live bacteria. Not just any bacteria, photobacterium. They produce light through a chemical reaction so efficient that nearly 100% of the energy goes into photons instead of heat. The anglerfish acquired these bacteria from the environment. Researchers publishing in the journal eLife in October 2019 confirmed that despite having genomes so reduced they lack the genetic instructions to survive alone, these bacteria persist in seawater at mesopelagic depths. Juvenile anglerfish do not have an ESCA, they develop it later. Somehow, between larval stage and adulthood, they pick up the bacteria, and the partnership begins. Scientists still do not know exactly how. ROV observations published in May 2023, Cornell University microbiology studies from eLife Journal in 2019, showing environmental bacterial acquisition, and the University of Hawaii's Deep End Consortium Gulf of Mexico research published in 2024, documenting bioluminescent symbiont characterization across serachoid life stages. Now back to the information. The anglerfish lure works because in pitch darkness anything that glows draws attention. Small fish and crustaceans mistake the light for prey or a mate. They drift closer. The anglerfish does not move. Its body, dark as tar, absorbs light. Its jaws, lined with transparent inward-pointing teeth, sit open just enough. When prey enters range, the mouth explodes forward. The hinged jaw can open to more than 90 degrees. The teeth do not pierce. They trap. Once inside, the mouth prey cannot escape because every tooth angles backward. The anglerfish swallows whole. Its stomach stretches. One researcher from the University of Tokyo in 2022 described finding a fish inside an anglerfish specimen that measured 40% of the predator's own body length. Laboratory at the University of Hawaii described a new anglerfish species found during 2021 research cruises. This species has two lures, one bioluminescent, one not. No other anglerfish has this. She named it Paresca, Latin for pair of bait. The discovery was published in 2024 and selected as one of the top 10 remarkable species of that year by the School of Ocean and Earth Science and Technology. Every time scientists think they understand anglerfish, they find something new. The lower jaw protrudes, hinged. When the viperfish attacks, it swims at high speed and impales prey on those teeth. The first vertebra behind the head acts as a shock absorber, an airbag. Without it, the impact would shatter the skull. Research published in Wikipedia's comprehensive viperfish entry in November 2025 describes a unique jaw muscle called the ao that increases bite force and jaw closing speed. This muscle exists only in Cholidus sloani. No other fish has it. Light to blend with the background. The viperfish also has a long dorsal spine tipped with a photophore that it waves like a fishing rod. Flash, dark, flash. Small fish see the light and investigate, then the teeth. It hosts organisms that do. This symbiosis mirrors the anglerfish, but in a different family. Bioluminescence evolved at least 40 separate times in marine organisms, according to studies on deep sea adaptations. Each time, the solution looked slightly different. Some fish make their own light through chemical reactions. Others farm bacteria. The viperfish chose bacteria. 5,000 feet down, where pressure hits 150 atmospheres. At night, they rise to 2,000 feet, where food concentrates, lanternfish, bristlemouths, copepods, krill. Stomach content analysis from specimens caught in the Gulf of Mexico showed 70% crustaceans by count. The viperfish's metabolic rate runs so low it can survive days without eating. This matters when food appears once a week or less. The deep sea selects for patience. To house them when the mouth closes, the teeth fit into skull grooves. Otherwise, they would pierce the fish's own brain. The risk. Research published in the journal Marine Biology in 2020 described the fangtooth's teeth as adapted for holding rather than cutting. Once prey enters the mouth, it does not leave. In darkness, where vision fails, the lateral line tracks movement. Researchers studying fangtooth behavior noted the fish can detect a shrimp kicking 3 body lengths away. That is over a foot, in absolute blackness. Melanosomes packed tightly in the skin trap photons through pigment particles. 15 other deep-sea species show this adaptation, and genetic analysis proved each evolved it independently. No common ancestor. Just convergent evolution solving the same problem. Stay hidden. Ambush prey. The fangtooth lives between 660 and 6,560 feet deep. Some specimens have been caught as deep as 16,000 feet. Juveniles look so different from adults that scientists once classified them as a separate species in another genus called Calolepis. Young fangtooths have long spines on the head and a functional gas bladder. Adults lose both. The gas bladder would implode under deep sea pressure. Better to abandon it. Most no longer than 15 centimeters, but everyone an apex predator. The jaw can hinge open past 100 degrees. Adductor muscles reduced to increase closing speed. The loose jaw design means less mass behind the teeth, which increases velocity. A dragonfish can snap its mouth shut faster than prey can react. Research on dragonfish jaw mechanics published in Wikipedia's Stomidae entry in late November 2025 showed that despite the extreme jaw length, the fish compensates with decreased surface area and mechanical advantage to achieve high adduction velocity. It illuminates crustaceans and small fish without alerting them, then strikes. Scientists studying Malacosteus niger found that this species evolved far-red emitting photophores and rhodopsins that detect wavelengths invisible to other fish. It is the deep sea equivalent of night vision goggles. The prey sees the glow, approaches, the teeth close. Stomach content analysis of Malacosteus niger specimens from the North Atlantic, Gulf of Mexico, and Pacific showed 65 to 80% large calanoid copepods by prey number and 10 to 45% by biomass. Despite jaws built for large prey, many dragonfishes eat tiny crustaceans. The big mouth is insurance. When a squid or fish appears, the dragonfish can take it. But copepods sustain the population. Break those boundaries, and the fish disappears. Researchers mapping Chauliodus density found the highest concentration in the Kurosa Hole submarine caldera off Japan. Thousands of viperfish in one location. Also, this script is researched and factual, using sources from Rice University's Nature, Ecology, and Evolution publication from November 2024 on anglerfish evolutionary radiation, Schmidt Ocean Institute expeditions off Chile in January and February 2024, discovering over 100 new deep-sea species, and the Ocean Census Biodiversity Data Platform launched in March 2025, documenting 860 6 new marine species, including deep-sea fish from depths up to 4,990 meters. Now back to the information. So the blobfish evolved a different solution. Its flesh is primarily gelatinous mass with a density slightly less than water. It floats above the seafloor without expending energy. No swimming, no muscle, just drifting. The sudden pressure drop from 60 to 1 atmosphere causes the gelatinous tissue to expand and swell dramatically. The face protrudes, jowls droop, the body becomes a blob. That famous sad melting appearance exists only in dead or dying specimens. In 2013, the Ugly Animal Preservation Society held a contest. The blobfish won with 795 votes out of 3,000, world's ugliest animal. The campaign aimed to highlight conservation needs for deep-sea species. It worked. The blobfish became a mascot, memes, songs, merchandise. That specimen, nicknamed Mr. Blobby, resides in the Australian Museum Ichthyology collection. Initially fixed in formaldehyde, now preserved in 70% ethyl alcohol. The preservation tightened the skin, the famous droopy nose shrank. Mr. Blobby no longer looks as sad as the photos suggest. The fish sits motionless on the ocean floor and waits. When something edible drifts by, the blobfish opens its large mouth and gulps. Ambush predation, energy conservation. In an environment where food arrives sporadically, this strategy works. Scientists estimate blobfish can live 130 years based on life expectancy of related deep-sea species. That estimate remains unconfirmed. Actual specimens have not been aged. Reproduction was first documented in 2000 on the Gorda Escarpment off California. Groups of nests, approximately 100,000 eggs per nest, pink eggs, brooding blobfish tending them on rocky plateaus. This is when they are most vulnerable. Collective nesting may increase survival through sheer numbers. Some eggs will be eaten, enough survive. The blobfish appears on the IUCN Red List as data deficient, population trends unknown. Deep-sea trawling catches blobfish as bycatch in fisheries targeting orange ruffy. The fish cannot survive the rapid ascent. Decompression kills them. Conservationists argue for marine protected areas. The Australian Fisheries Management Act, 1991, includes bycatch action plans. New Zealand uses the quota management system, but enforcement in international waters remains weak. Also called the pelican eel or umbrella mouth gulper, lives 500 to 6,000 feet deep in tropical and temperate oceans worldwide. Its mouth is larger than its body. The lower jaw hinges at the base of the head, with no body mass behind it. When the eel opens wide, the jaw unfolds horizontally, then inflates like a balloon. The mechanism involves geometric unfolding, followed by stretching made possible by highly stretchable skin. This was documented by researchers from the University of Tokyo in 2003 sequencing mitochondrial DNA from specimens. Monument inflating its mouth to catch prey. The team filmed it. Scientists had never seen this behavior in the wild before. The eel swims into a school of shrimp with mouth open and scoops them up like a net. Then water expels slowly through the gills, leaving the prey inside. When anything appears, the eel can take it. In October 2018, near the Azores, researchers made the first direct observation of an adult gulper eel hunting. It moved constantly through the water column, searching for prey. Aggressive, active, not the passive ambush predator they expected. Vertebrae. Researchers hypothesized these spaces function like a swim bladder for buoyancy. The muscle segments are V-shaped instead of the W shape found in other fish. The lateral line system projects from the body, rather than sitting in a groove. This may increase sensitivity to vibrations. The eel's eyes are very small. Researchers believe they evolved to detect faint light rather than form images. When male gulper eels mature, their jaws weaken, teeth become smaller, but olfactory organs enlarge dramatically. Sense of smell improves. Researchers think this helps them find mates. There is evidence that gulper eels die after spawning like salmon. If reproduction is a one-time event, then losing jaw strength makes sense. The eel no longer needs to feed. Just find a mate, spawn, die. Specimens brought to the surface in fishing nets often have their long tails tied into several knots. The eel thrashes in the net. The tail tangles. This fragility makes studying them difficult. Most specimens arrive damaged. First described in 1939, but the transparent head was not documented until the 2000s. Earlier descriptions did not mention it because the fragile structure was destroyed when specimens were hauled up in nets. The head is a fluid-filled transparent dome. Inside sit two tubular eyes, bright green, pointing upward. Then in 2009, researchers Bruce Robison and Kim Reisenbichler from the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute observed a live barrel-eye brought to the surface. It survived several hours in a shipboard aquarium. They watched the fish rotate its tubular eyes from vertical to horizontal. The eyes can look up to spot prey silhouettes against faint surface light, then rotate forward to see what the fish is eating. This was published in the journal Copeia in 2008. It detects the actual bioluminescent glow of jellies and siphonophores hanging in the water. Researchers think the barrel eye hovers below siphonophore tentacles and steals prey, copepods, hydroids, small crustaceans trapped in the stinging threads. The transparent head shields the eyes from nematocysts. The fish plucks food with its small, precise mouth, and the jellies cannot fight back. They allow the fish to remain suspended and motionless in the water column, hovering, watching, waiting. The retina has an exceptionally high complement of rod cells and high density of rhodopsin. No cone cells, pure night vision. The eyes resolve silhouettes in the faintest ambient light. Binocular vision allows accurate tracking. When prey appears, the barrel eye darts upward and snags it. They stay just below the limit of light penetration, between 400 and 2,500 meters deep. Isotherms and isohalenes dictate distribution. In Epistoproctus solidus, upper limits coincide with the 400-meter isotherm for 8 degrees Celsius. Break that boundary and the species disappears. Reproduction involves pelagic spawning, eggs and sperm released into the water. Fertilized eggs are buoyant. They rise toward the surface. Larvae drift with currents at shallow depths. Upon metamorphosis, they descend to join the adults in the darkness. The barrel eye family Opistheproctidae includes multiple genera: Dolichopteryx, Bathylicnops, Opistheproctus, Rhynchohyalus, Winteria. Each has subtle differences: eye placement, body shape, fin structure. But all share the transparent head and tubular eyes, convergent evolution within a family. Chile's coast, 1 month, 100 new deep-sea species documented: deep-sea corals, glass sponges, squat lobsters, fish. In April 2024, a team led by Ariadna Macho from the Barcelona Supercomputing Center explored the Salas y Gomez Ridge, 50 to 60 potentially new species, more than half likely new to science. In August 2024, a European team described Gydropsaurus mauritanicus, a new fish from deepwater coral reefs off Mauritania, 73 millimeters long, lives in ecosystems under pressure from trawling. In September 2025, researchers from SUNY Geneseo and MBRI described 3 new snailfish species. The bumpy snailfish, Chiropractus caliculi, pink, covered in bums, found at depths over 13,000 feet off California. The specimen was so unusual that when MBRI senior scientist Steve Haddock first saw it on ROV footage in 2019, he could not identify it. He contacted expert Mackenzie Geringer. She examined the fish using microscopy, micro-CT scanning, and genetic analysis. 3 distinct species, all new. The discoveries came from ROV dives, submersibles, and deep sea trawls. Scientists from the Ocean Census Science Network analyzed specimens. The data went into the Ocean Census Biodiversity Data Platform developed with the UN Environment Program World Conservation Monitoring Center. The platform launched in beta in March 2025. Real-time cataloging, open access. Marine biologists worldwide can now see what has been found and where. Why do deep-sea fish have such extreme adaptations? Pressure, darkness, cold, scarcity? At 3,000 meters depth, the pressure exceeds 300 atmospheres. Human lungs would collapse. Eardrums rupture at 7 feet. At 3,000 feet, you would be crushed. The blobfish survives because it has no air spaces. The fangtooth survives with minimal skeletal structure and gelatinous tissue. The gulper eel survives with lymphatic spaces instead of a swim bladder. Evolution does not plan, it selects. Fish that could not handle pressure died. Fish with mutations that helped them survive reproduced. Over millions of years, the survivors became something unrecognizable. So deep-sea fish evolved massive eyes like the barrel eye or abandoned eyes entirely like the gulper eel. They developed lateral lines, so sensitive, they detect a shrimp kick from 3 body lengths away. They grew photophores to create their own light. They partnered with bacteria that glow. Every solution is a trade-off. Big eyes gather light but cost energy to maintain. Bioluminescence attracts prey but also predators. Transparent heads protect the eyes but offer no armor. The deep sea does not care about perfection. It cares about survival. Some deep-sea fish can survive months without eating. Their metabolic rate drops so low they barely move. They hover. They wait. When food finally arrives, they strike with everything they have. In an environment where every calorie matters, less muscle means more survival. The blobfish is almost entirely gelatinous. The barrel eye has massive fins but minimal body. The gulper eel is mostly tail. Evolution stripped away everything unnecessary and left only what works. More people have walked on the moon than have visited the deepest ocean trenches. Every ROV dive finds something new. Every trawl haul brings up specimens scientists have never seen. In 2024 alone, over 1,000 new marine species were documented. That number will increase. The deep sea is not empty. It is full of fish with transparent heads and rotating eyes, full of eels with mouths like balloons, full of predators with teeth so large they pierce their own skulls. The barrel eye was described in 1939, but we did not know its eyes rotated until 2009. We are not discovering these fish. We are finally seeing them. We have theories, no proof. The fangtooth's teeth lack calcium phosphate. Does that make them weaker, stronger, more flexible? We measured them. We do not understand them. The Australian Fisheries Management Act tries to limit bycatch. New Zealand's quota management system regulates deep-sea fisheries, but in international waters beyond 200 nautical miles from any coast, no one enforces anything. The High Seas Treaty, signed in 2023, sets rules for marine protected areas. As of 2025, it needs 60 countries to ratify. It has less than 30. Climate change warms surface water. That heat will eventually reach the deep sea. Currents shift, isotherms move. Fish that evolve for specific temperature ranges will have to migrate or die. Ocean acidification changes water chemistry. Carbonate ions dissolve. Animals with shells struggle. The deep-sea food web depends on marine snow, dead plankton, fecal pellets, carcasses drifting down from above. Warm surface water means less plankton. Less plankton means less snow. Less snow means less food. The whole system collapses from the bottom up. The barrel eye's rotating eyes could inspire camera systems. The fangtooth's ultra-black skin could improve solar panels and stealth technology. We have barely begun to explore what these adaptations can teach us. They have survived there for millions of years. They will survive after us if we let them. But first, we have to see them, really see them, not as ugly or strange or alien, as adapted, specialized, successful. The paper included micro CT scans showing skeletal structure so reduced it barely qualifies as bone. Genetic analysis revealed it diverged from related species millions of years ago. It has been down there the whole time. We just found it. That is the pattern. The deep sea does not hide its creatures. We simply have not looked hard enough. Schmidt Ocean Institute mapped it with multi-beam sonar, 3,100 meters tall. Summit sits 994 meters below the surface. On that seamount, live corals and sponges and fish that exist nowhere else. Pristine reef 800 square meters wide. Glass sponge fields, ancient corals. The team collected samples. Analysis continues. They expect over 100 new species from that one mountain. The Salas y Gomez Ridge stretches from offshore Chile to Rapa Nui. 40-day scientific cruise in 2024. 160 species not previously known in the region. At least 50 new to science. Deep-sea corals, glass sponges, sea urchins, squids, mollusks, crabs, sea stars, squat lobsters, fish. The ridge is a biodiversity hotspot, high endemism, critical habitats, over 80 threatened or endangered species. And we are just starting to catalog what lives there. Ordinary appearance, extraordinary function, just shallow enough to still see faint light. The discovery came from ROV surveys, visual identification followed by specimen collection. Genetic analysis confirmed it as a new species. The shark was always there. We finally noticed. Fish with transparent heads and rotating eyes, fish that glow, fish that float, fish that ambush and fish that migrate, and fish that have survived pressure and darkness and cold for so long they no longer resemble what we think fish should be. A long-term deep-sea research observatory 130 miles off California, the sleek snailfish, Paraliparissum, named after the research site and the people who have supported the Station M Time series for 30 years. The fish was there the whole time. Pressure, darkness, cold. It adapted. Gelatinous body, minimal skeleton, functional, successful. We measured it, sequenced its DNA, photographed it, added it to the catalog of known life. That is the work. Map the seamounts, deploy the ROVs, collect the specimens, sequence the genes, describe the species, publish the papers, update the databases, protect the ecosystems. Because the deep sea is not a museum. It is not frozen in time. It is alive. It is changing. And it is under threat from trawlers and mining and warming and acidification. Every species we document is a species we can try to save. Every adaptation we understand is a lesson in survival we might need ourselves. The fangtooth sits in darkness, its giant teeth fitting into sockets in its skull. The blobfish drifts above the seafloor, its gelatinous body perfectly balanced against the water. The gulper eel inflates its mouth like a balloon and scoops up a school of shrimp. They are not monsters. They are survivors, and we are only beginning to understand how. 866 new species. Depths from 1 meter to 4,990 meters. Atlantic, Pacific, Indian, Southern, Arctic, every major ocean, every depth zone. The platform integrates with the World Register of Marine Species. Open access, real time. Any researcher anywhere can see what has been found. The data will inform conservation priorities, marine protected areas, fisheries management, climate resilience strategies, but only if we use it, only if we act. There's a fish off California with a transparent head and rotating eyes. There's an eel in the Atlantic with a mouth that balloons to swallow prey twice its size. There's a predator in the Pacific with teeth so large they fit into sockets in its brain. There's a blob off Australia that floats without swimming and lives for a century without aging. They are real, they are documented, they are threatened. And they are just the ones we know about. The damselfish from the Maldives, the guitar shark from Tanzania, they were there all along. We finally looked. Between species, we can study, and species that go extinct before we describe them. Between a living ocean and a dead one. They adapted, they survived, they thrived, and they have something to teach us if we listen. The ocean is warming, the trawlers are dragging, the miners are planning, the clock is running. And it is still running. They are terrifying, they are beautiful, they are real, and they are just the beginning.